Am I the victim of some kind of wind-up?
Do you not
I'm
stop?
getting increasingly agitated.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I have actually been for fish and chips with Phil the Power Taylor.
Best darts match ever. You were at the 2007.
Yes.
Not the best one, though, is it?
Well, I think it probably was.
What?
It's the most iconic match that's ever been played. If you say to 100 people in a Family Fortune style question, name a darts match, that would be the one that gets named over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, but if you did Family Fortune, they said name a bird with long legs, and they said Naomi Campbell. Like, that doesn't mean it's right, does it?
Well, I mean, it's the quintessential darts match.
So Barney Taylor 2007 World Final. It's good. I'm not disputing that.
Well,
I'm going to say
I was stood in the Circus Tavern and I can remember virtually the whole of it, you know. And Barneveld is the champion of the world. Who could not remember John Gwynne's line?
what about Scott Rand, Kim Huybrechts in the first round of the
Behave
World
yourself.
Championship? Yeah, but it was good. That's it. It's character.
Well,
It's just-
Taylor against Lewis in the Grand Slam of Darts is the one that gets mentioned a lot.
That wasn't very close, though, was it?
Semi-final, no, but I mean it was ludicrous.
yeah, but it's
I mean, it was 180 after 180 after 180 until Adrian Lewis could stand no more, and it was no mass, and Taylor won 16-9, did he, something like that? Well, apart from Scott Rand against Kim Huybrechts,
There we go.
What are you coming back then with?
Well,
apart from
Scott Rand
offering?
versus Kim Huybrechts is obviously the top one. Okay, I'm spitballing here.
Am I the victim of some kind of wind-up?
No.
I've come in here trying to answer questions sensibly, and then
You haven't come here to answer questions
I'm assuming that there's a hidden camera here that's going to pop out and say this was all a joke, and
Right, do another one then. Do another one.
Right, so you've given up.
I've given up. Right, you can have Taylor
So
Barneveld.
it's Taylor Van Barneveld or Rand versus Huybrechts.
Yeah, let the people decide.
Put that to a public vote.
Yeah,
Well, at least I've got.
Naomi Campbell.
At least I've won the opening set. Right, this one now.
15 love at best. What's that?
Littler is the new Taylor. That's not a statement by me. I'm going to put a question mark. So the question is Littler the new Taylor?
No. He's
I
the
agree
new
with you.
Littler.
I agree with you.
Oh, congratulations.
That was
this
quick,
is
that was
a
quick,
rare
wasn't it?
moment of joy. There we go, we solved that one. Why isn't he the new Taylor?
I mean, he's currently appears to be, by my counting, 16 World Championships and 16 World Match Plays behind. So
He has had a bit less time.
he has had a bit less time, and he might win 116 of both. Well, he'd do well to do that because he'd have to be Methuselah by the end, wouldn't he?
Head in a jar.
But, yeah, but, all right, he might win 20 of both, but let's see him get to one. As John, when I was in the commentary box with John Gwynne once, and he said, if anyone can overtake Phil Taylor's record of how many World Championships it was at the time, say 13 or 14, Adrian Lewis could be the man. And I said, John, let's see him get to one first. And he did, he got to two, but that was it.
How many did you think, when Van Gerwen won, like, the best World Championship campaign ever, and he had, like, a tournament average of 106?
2017. At that point, you thought, he's the best by a mile, he'll carry on winning. But you had no idea some bloke called Luke Littler would turn up in 2023.
Didn't know Van Gerwen would get worse in the way
You didn't know that either. So with Littler, we think Littler, oh my word, and this kid, in the words of Simple about Phil Taylor, this kid could beat them all. But what we don't know, someone else could pop up next year who's now 15 or 16 and be better than Littler. I've got no idea what might happen. So who knows how many Littler might win?
Right. Do I get to pick one? Do you pick one? Oh, we've already
mine.
done that.
Littler's new Taylor. Right,
okay,
go
hang
on.
on. What's this one? Oh, here we go. Floor darts versus on-stage darts. Now we're talking.
That's empty room darts against on-stage darts. Here's what I think, and he'll disagree.
Yep.
That is actually the whole premise of the thing. But they can all play in an empty room. They can't all play at the Alexandra Palace or at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool in front of thousands of people with a TV camera pointing at them. They just can't, and they don't.
Why?
I don't know. I don't want to start psycho-babbling, but there appears
This is it. You got your crusade against psychobabble. Oh, it doesn't matter. They're all elite level performers, and it doesn't matter about the context or anything like that.
That is
That's
true.
all you ever hammer on, and then all of a sudden you stick a few people in the crowd, and then it's like, oh, well, they can't do that because they don't have the minerals or some sort of psychological ability.
Here's the thing, Dan. If I can't get an argument with someone else, including you, then I'll argue with myself. So, on one hand, I think that it is all the same, and it's just, they're just doing the task. On the other hand, I think it clearly is a different task in front of all these people and with the TV cameras rolling.
You're disrespecting Jose de Sousa. You're a Jose de Sousa disrespecter, and I won't stand for it.
Well, he won a tournament in an empty room and hasn't won a tournament since.
Well, his form hasn't been good, but he won loads of stuff prior to that. He won a Euro Tour, 2,500 people in there. Same amount as in the crowd at the Betfred World Matchplay. Beat Van Gerwen in the final.
But come on, it's different.
How is it different?
Some tournaments matter, don't they? At the end of anybody's career, they're judged on major wins, like in tennis, the US Open, the Wimbledon, French Open, the Australian.
The Grand Slam of darts for
Jose
de Sousa.
In darts, they're judged on the World Championship and second, the World Matchplay.
The Grand Slam is a good thing to win. If you win a Grand Slam, you're doing something all right, aren't you?
Well, you'd rather win it than not win it.
Yeah, right. So, why are you disrespecting Jose de Sousa, the Portuguese man of scores, the greatest player ever to come from Portugal?
I'm just saying that's not the same as winning the World Championship.
No, but you're saying it's almost worthless because there was nobody there watching it.
Almost worthless.
Why do we have some players that are better on stage than on floor?
The data shows that it's easier.
Why do some players seem
Otherwise, they'd all be winning all the time.
What about Dimitri van den Berg?
Got to the final in Blackpool.
Yeah, he plays better on the stage.
But he won the thing in an empty room.
Well, yeah, but he also...
So he plays well on a stage or not on a stage?
Yeah, but so...
Because he's good, right?
Right, he's good. Right, there we go.
He's a good player.
He's good. And so is Jose de Sousa. Right, do you want another one?
And Scott Rand.
Scott Rand was
right.
great.
Here's another one. There is no such thing
as a pressure dart. Oh, now we're getting into stud territory.
As Pikey would say, pressure dart.
So we've already covered off that if there's fans in the room, that makes a difference. Yeah? Yeah? Context matters. Yeah? Yeah?
I can tell you that last time I looked, and this may have changed, Luke Humphries hits 42% of the darts he throws at a double, regardless if his opponent's on a finish, not on a finish, last dart in hand, first dart in hand. And so the number of times he throws at a double is based on the fact that he's good at throwing at a double, not as what's happening in the context of the match.
Why is it that every single sportsman you have ever met has disagreed with you?
Well, they
From
haven't.
their own personal experience.
If someone says, I felt nervous, I can't tell them that they didn't feel nervous, can I?
No, you can't. So that's a pressure dart?
Well, but I can tell them that it doesn't seem to make any difference to what is the outcome of the dart if you throw it enough times.
If you throw it enough times?
I think what happens is we wait for an outcome and then we invent a reason for it. So if someone misses when it's a match dart, we think, oh, he must have felt the pressure. Or if they miss when their opponent's would be on a finish to win the match and they've got to hit it and he missed, you think, oh, he must have done it due to the pressure. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe he just missed because he wasn't as good as the other bloke throwing the darts.
Maybe. However, you have to concede that mental states affect physical states, do you not? Do you not?
I'm getting increasingly agitated.
So. Yeah. And do you feel it's affecting your performance in this enlightened debate? But
no, because the numbers will always support me. So
the numbers will always support. Placebos. Placebos exist and they work because what people think, how they feel, affects them physically. And if that is the case, then surely context matters in a sporting environment.
No one beats the numbers forever, Dan.
Yeah, right.
Whose turn is it now?
Right, it's my turn. We're going to go for one. Right, here we go.
That looks like a long one.
Is this, should the PDC lengthen the hockey? Why would they?
Well, that was my next question, to make it more difficult.
To make it more difficult?
But
it would fundamentally
how
change
much
the
further
game.
how much would you have to lengthen it to make it difficult?
Meters.
Well, then it would be really hard, wouldn't it? Well, then it would be a javelin, not darts, wouldn't it? You know,
yeah.
The closer you get, the harder it is. Apart from if you could just place it in from about an inch away.
Yeah.
Even then, I would miss. But 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot, it wouldn't make much difference, would it? I think in terms of their accuracy.
How long would it take them to adapt, the best players, or would some just be broken? I've played this game for 30 years, and it's all based on muscle memory, and now you've moved me a foot back, and now I cannot play.
That's a good question.
You've ended my career.
I think the best players would probably be able to adapt to any kind of circumstances.
Have we found common ground?
Yeah.
Okay. Should the PDC lengthen the hockey? No.
I mean, it's like in golf, they're hitting it too far, so change the compression of the ball. Tennis, they did the same, they were serving too quickly, and the rallies weren't lasting.
If anything, the game's got easier. We've made the targets bigger by cutting down the wires and removing the staples.
Which is more entertaining, 1/8 maximums or misses. That should be on one of these, shouldn't it? Write it down and hand it in.
I want both. Both.
Well, maximums are exciting, aren't they? But then at the end of the leg, when they're both missing, if both players have missed a dart to win a leg, it becomes exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think we found common ground.
Yeah, maximums.
Do we leave it on common ground, or do you want to leave it on an argument? Which player would you like to go for fish and chips with?
I have actually been for fish and chips with Phil the Power Taylor.
What was his order? Actual fish and chips?
No, he went and got them and brought them back.
You sent Phil Taylor to get you fish and chips?
Well, I mean, he offered. It was during the World Championship. We were in a hotel, and it was the year that he had that almost a fight with Van Barneveld in the semi-final.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it was before the final with Van Gerwen, and we sat at the hotel. He was having to do his apology broadcast, and he goes, "I'm going to get some fish and chips before I do it. Do you want some?" So I had fish and chips with the power. It was great.
Wow. Is that exactly what you would have before you had to
he
make a public apology?
I think he wanted to gear himself up for his apology, and then subsequently to defeat Michael Van Gerwen in that final, which he did on both counts. So it was good.
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that other than that I wouldn't go with Terry Jenkins or Andy the Pie Man Smith because you wouldn't get any. They're the only people to be thrown out of an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet.
When he hadn't even had his pudding.
He hadn't even had his pudding, right?
Yeah, as he famously said.
Which player could be England manager? I assume that means darts player.
Well, during the last World Championship, when I thought Luke Littler would be favourite for everything for the Grand National to the next Pope. So I presume, I'm surprised. I've seen the betting with Betfred for the next England manager, and I can't understand why Luke Littler isn't favourite. He should be in the betting, so I'm going to say Luke Littler. He can do everything else. Is there nothing that this lad can't do?
Well, most of them can't manage themselves. They should not be put in charge of other people. Best ever winning darts bet. Robert Thornton, 80 to 1 to win the World Grand Prix.
Yes.
I think that's the last one I had to win as well.
Mardell had that, and he still goes on about it till this day. He's been dining out on it ever since. I've had some terrible darts bets, but I first met Wayne Mardell in a pub many years ago, about 2005, and it was after a day's darts, and he was swanning around saying, "Oh, this is all a laugh," and what a life. And I thought, this is the guy to keep backing against, and that proved a profitable strategy over subsequent years. I love telling him that story over and over again over a beer. But
best walk-on?
Well, there is no contest, is it? It is Wayne Mardell. He is the world walk-on champion.
He is the world walk-on champion.
So
that's only because they've never held it.
Only held it once.
Michael Smith is still the Shanghai Darts Master, and that is a tournament that hasn't been held for several years now. And he's going to be the Shanghai Darts Master forever, by the looks of it. Was Wayne's the best walk? I mean, in a general thing, Bob Anderson with a horse. It was only one walk-on.
Yeah.
If you bring an animal with your walk-on, I think you automatically win it.
Yeah, that was good.
And there is a Chinese player who goes by the Panda Man. If he walks on with a panda, instantly top. Instantly. Oh dear me, best commentator.
Sid Waddell, Dave Lanning and John Gwynn.
Yeah, there we go. The Holy Trinity. Fair enough, although Mr. Studd's not far behind. Darts is not a sport.
Silly talk.
It is silly talk. Of course it's a sport. What more do you need?
My definition of a sport is a physical activity with a scoring system, which darts clearly is. There's a physio I work with, and he used to say darts isn't a sport. And the reason I tell you that is my definition is you have to change your shoes or footwear to play it. If you don't have to change your shoes or footwear to play it, then it's not a sport. And I say, well, they do wear different shoes on the stage. Yeah, but they don't have to, do they? So they could turn up in their day-to-day shoes. So he says it's not a sport because of the shoes issue.
Yeah.
Which is better, physical activity with a scoring system or changing the shoes is the definition?
I mean, the shoes thing is utter nonsense.
Yeah, I told him that as well.
Absolutely. Of course, darts is a sport. I'm not standing for anything else like that. We're agreeing on quite a lot. First darts match I saw.
Something at the late side. And I'm sure it's not this one, but I'm going to mention it now because Della will want me to. But one of the first would have been Bristow-Della in '83, the final.
Who won that? Can't remember.
Did Bristow turn down the bull or something?
Yeah, I think there was.
Della took Alacheka. What was it? 124 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. 100 odd. I can't remember that number.
I've seen that.
I once said to Della, I said, Keith, why do you keep signing your name when someone asks for an autograph? Keith Della 138. And he said, well, the thing is, when I won the World Championship, I said, oh, get stuff, Keith. There's no one on the earth who doesn't know why it's 138. Clear off. And he went, oh, sorry, I just didn't realise I was going to tell you the story of when Bristow turned down the ball. So, Keith, I've heard you tell that story about 700 times.
I have a vivid memory of watching Co Stompy on the telly. That would be the first.
Really?
Yeah. That would have been. I've got no idea who was playing either. That was my first memory of darts. I thought, this is great. He looks really weird. And then I got to meet him one day. It was amazing.
Play up, Stompy.
Play up, Stompy.
If there's one for which is the best dart chant or song, play up, Stompy, Stompy, play up, it is the best.
Yeah, that is good. Although I do quite like Doots, There It Is.
Oh, that's very
good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Doots.
That's
and narrowly missed out on qualifying for the Betfred World Matchplay this year. Betfred World Matchplay or Champions League final?
I presume that's not the Champions League of Darts final. It means
the now defunct
Champions
League of Darts, won by Mentor Suljevic, among others. I mean, there's only...
Well, Betfred World Matchplay. I mean, who wants to watch Real Madrid take on Manchester City or Bayern Munich or somebody?
That's all you ever care about. But this is quality and it lasts 9 days.
Yes, that's a good point.
And it's at Blackpool Winter Gardens, and it's darts, and you might get to see Dirk van Dijven for some years, and you won't see him at the Champions League final. Name an aubergine farmer that has played in the Champions League final. You can't.
All right.
Yeah.
On that, I will concede.
What would be your walk-on?
I quite like "Come On" by the Hives,
Oh, yeah.
which contains the lyric "Come On"
Yeah,
about
yes.
750
It's quite a
times.
Ron seal.
And, I mean, it's something that Lennon and McCartney would have been proud of, wasn't it? Just bellowing, "Come on, come on, come on." But probably maybe something by AC/DC, a bit Thunderstruck or Back in Black or something. I think AC/DC is chronically underused in the walk-ons.
Yeah, no, that's good. Although anybody who's actually thought this through properly, the gold standard for walk-ons, you want something that people know the words of and that they will drunkenly shout along with, and top marks if it scans with your name. So obviously, do A.D. Lewis worked very well.
Yeah.
But if anybody's actually starting out and it turns out you're the next Luke Littler, then what you do, you change your name by deed poll to Howard DeWitt. And then you walk on to "This is how we do it, because this is how we do it."
Right, yeah.
And that works. People know it, they will sing it. It's also your name. It ticks every single box. I don't know why nobody's done it as yet. Best player to have never won the World Matchplay?
Is this the Wayne Mardell show? Wayne Mardell.
Wayne Mardell, behave yourself.
He never won it.
Well, he never won it, yeah, but there's loads of people who never won it.
He's the former almost world match play champion, like he's the former almost world darts champion.
I think
Mark Gumbridge.
There is only one answer to this, and it is the man who made the final for the first 3 years of the tournament and never won it, the great Dennis Priestley.
Well, that's the serious answer. Yeah.
That's
I was unaware that we were supposed to descend into seriousness.
All right, well, if we're not descending into seriousness, actually, I'm going to descend further into seriousness and say that man over there, Andrew Gilding.
Oh, yeah.
There we go, the thumb.
No, Dennis Priestley is a very fair shout.
Most underrated player ever, final one, Mr. Studd. Who is it?
I actually am going to say, in a rare moment of seriousness and gravitas, that it might well be James Wade, who fails to get the credit he deserved for being an outstanding player over, the thick end of 2 decades. Maybe because he's never really performed at the World Championship, but he's certainly performed here at the Betfred World Matchplay over and over and over again, and is doing this year as we're talking. So I don't think James Wade has had the credit he deserves.
Where would you put somebody like a man who's reached the final of the Betfred World Matchplay and indeed reached the final of many major tournaments and has now become known simply for losing in major finals? Terry the Bull Jenkins.
Yes.
Because Terry the Bull Jenkins was unquestionably one of the greatest players in the world for an awful long amount of time, but because he never managed to get any major, whether it's this or the Slam or anything, and yet he got to the final so many times, he then becomes just this sort of an example of somebody who never won, even though he won so much to get in those finals.
Yeah. No, yes, very good. I mean, getting to a final is difficult.
Yeah.
People think, it makes you some kind of choker or bottler if you lose finals, but getting to a final is difficult.
Yeah. And you often beat the best players in the world to get there, beating Taylor and Van Gerwen.
It makes him an extremely good player. Terry Jenkins, the darting Gareth Southgate, if you will.
Well,
but it's an exceptionally good player, Terry Jenkins. And often running into the power in a final, and who wouldn't have lost to the power at that period in time?
Quite. There we go. Terry the Bull, or Dave Chizzy Chisnell, or Wayne Mardell, or James Wade. Take your pick. Many. Put some respect on their names. That was an awful handshake.
Was it? I thought it was quite authoritative.